Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. You've had another good weekend on the sports scene, mainly football obviously, but and I've got to say it's great for to see some of the new members on the photography chat page on the Facebook group. As a rule, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, we always share our set from the weekend, and it's good to have a chat and compare notes and settings and whatever. So yeah, thanks if you've just joined recently, and if you haven't, photography chat on Facebook, come along and join us and join in with the conversation on sport. Mainly, there's a bit of landscapes and bits and bobs because we don't all shoot sport, but yeah, it's great to see your sets. Anyway, last game, I've done a game since this game that we're going to go over, Grimsby versus Colchester. That was last Tuesday night. I just haven't had time to do the video yet, so I thought I'd sneak a quick midweek video in just to try and keep you up to speed on all my games. And it was really good to go to a League Two ground, if you like. I've not been to Grimsby for a long time, again, since Dad took me to watch West Ham years and years ago. I think it was a cup match, but yeah, I nipped to the loo and it was still a wooden door with one of the old style bolt locks, and it was brilliant. And I wish I could have documented that, not just basically the toilet, but the toilet door, but all the surroundings really old worldy, and I like them sort of grounds. And you can really get arty with, as you'll see in a minute. Well, I tried to get arty, but yeah, with the old grounds and the old dugouts and bits and bobs, but the old stands and the seating, some of it's still wooden. But anyway, yeah, it was good to do a game under the lights, and I'll go over my settings in a minute, but obviously down to 2.8 as much as I could once the floodlights came on, and down to about 12/50th on the shutter speed. But yeah, we'll go through the settings in a minute anyway. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the laptop and have a look at the set. Right, so as you can see here, the old obligatory start the set off with an image of the ground. So yeah, as you can see, it's quite a small little old-fashioned ground, if you like, but really nice to shoot at, like I say. And it was so we were so well looked after. I went into the press room, which was a porter cabin in the corner of the ground, and there was tea and coffee there. We had a chip butty, really good. And then at half time I nipped in, and there was some coffees laid out. Absolutely fantastic service, and it was quite a chilly night, so it was a godsend to have a coffee at half time. But yeah, that was great, and it was just great to be at Grimsby for once, and local, just down the road from me. But yeah, so here's the ground, and then I just walked around the ground and tried to, because as you can see, this stand here, it's black and white, and the goal nets are black and white, so that made a nice frame with the two floodlights in each corner. And then they were still preparing the ground, the goal mouth and that, so I just thought I'd get one of the groundsmen here, and it's nice with that backdrop with the black and white seating. And then, as you can see, Blundell Park here, bit of the old barbed wire fencing up, only half of it on the gate, and the what do you call it? It's the sponsors there, and yeah, just it's not a very well composed frame, but it's the main entrance to just to the side of the main entrance at Blundell Park. So yeah, I just thought I'd send that off, and some lovely murals just inside the ground, which I tried to make the most of. This one here and then this one here. I was a bit clumsy here. Look, I've just chopped that off. I didn't compose it right really. I think I was looking at his face and just missed this. So yeah, my bad on this part. Should have really composed that a bit better. But anyway, then Colchester arrived quick, and not many players came out onto the pitch because it was a bit nippy. But he was just having a walk round, and then lo and behold, and a bit of a tip for you. As luck would have it, the press room, or the porter cabin in the corner, was for both journalists and photographers. Not that there was many photographers there, mind, and I was just out earwigging with the journos. I just happened to hear that Colchester had sacked their manager on the Saturday before, bearing in mind, 3 days ago, and that Matthew Etherington was in charge. So I thought, right, I've got to try and get some of him straight away. And I said, has the coach arrived yet? And they said, I think he's just got here. So I zoomed out, and he was already on the pitch just having a look round. As you can see here, just having a look round. So I just hosed him down to try and get something to send off pretty quick, just in case the story was Matthew Etherington sets up his first match in charge of Colchester. So yeah, I got 2 or 3 of him. He was on the pitch for about 5 minutes really. As you can see, the weather turned and it started drizzling, but luckily not for long. It was a pretty dry game. But yeah, so I got a few of Matthew Etherington, who incidentally used to play for West Ham a few years ago. So yeah, nice to see him again. And I think this is his first full-time position. I think, well, first team position should I say. I think he was in charge of, I think he had 2 or 3 games at Crawley, and then they let him go before the end of last season. Before that, I think he was in charge of an under-21s team somewhere. No doubt you'll correct me on that if I'm wrong. But yes, I got him, and then went outside, and it's all streets. I like the street views as well, and just trying to get some of the fans arriving and try and paint a bit of a picture. Because it was so chilly, there weren't a lot of Grimsby colours out really. But now this one, I tried to get a bit arty with some low light just at the main entrance, but it didn't really work. There was this chap here, and he was having a fag, and I thought it might look okay, but he gave a big puff of his smoke, and it came out in a triangle. The only time that the 70-200 decided to hunt on the focusing, and it muzzed it. So this was the best of a bad shot really. And also it was when there was no one here, whereas these 2 guys were just walking. There's a bit of smoke about, but I think I captioned it. Grimsby fan takes has a bit of a cigarette before he goes into the ground sort of thing, but didn't really work. There's a bit too much space here, and it would have been nicer if these were a bit closer, but I sent it anyway because it's nice to get a bit arty in the evening games. But what's the settings here? Yeah, we're at 16,000 ISO. Look at what was I at? 800. So I slowed it down a bit at 2.8. Obviously focused on this guy, but yeah, I'll have to have another go at that. But hopefully get some more night games soon, because you can get really arty. But then back into the ground, just 1 or 2 of them warming up really, just to show that it was an evening game. Got the young mascots just waving the flags. Took ages to get the. Never did get the GTFC, but Grimsby Town Football Club. But I got the Grimsby Football Club bit, so that's all that matters. So that just made a nice one. Just something different with the floodlight shining through the flag. So that was quite nice. That's on the 16-35. Went down to 500th of a second there, an f4. It's only an f4 lens, so went down to f4, but 6,400 ISO, so it worked all right. It's not too. It's quite sharp. Let's have a look at it. That's quite sharp at 400th, so that worked all right. Again, just a general view really of the mascots waving the flags and that. And then it was there was a minute's applause for Sir Bobby Charlton. So I thought, right, I did a low angle at first. It just didn't work. There was too much sky. So I shot up into the stand as quick as I could, right to the top. And I think this angle works quite nicely. And yeah, it just fills the frame a bit more. There was too much sky when I was at ground level. So yeah, sometimes it works. And what I must do, one of my brief shots when I'm shooting for Shutterstock is to try and get as much sky bet stuff as I can. And I know along the side of each, you've probably all seen them, along the side of each side of the goal, there's the sky bet mats. So I'm going to have to be brave at some point and head up into the stands and try and get some actual match action with that sky bet mat and the goal mouth in the background, and just hope and pray that if they do score while I'm up there, that I get a nice frame. But yeah, I'm going to have to try and do that at some point. It's a shot I've got in my mind, and I have seen some of the other Shutterstock lads do it, but it's just a case of when we're at the right ground that we can move about a bit and get up into the stand for the first 5 minutes and wait for action to come into the you know, the 5-yard area, 18-yard box should I say. So yeah, that's one. Watch this space. That's one that's hopefully going to get captured in the next week or 2. But what we at there, up to 1,000th at 3.5. I just went up from 2.8 just to get a little bit more depth of field to try and get both teams sharp. I can, and obviously you can see Sir Bobby on the screen there. But very hard to escape this haze that's on the digital screens. That you'd have to try and pick your right shutter speed. But anyway, it is what it is, and you can see that Sir Bobby's there. See what's going on. And yeah, this was one of the first frames I took. There was a corner pretty quickly, and shows the Adidas boot and the Puma ball, and can't quite see the EFL, but you can see the Puma. That ball's nearly right now, so I just thought I'd send that off just as a general view. And then what we at now, we're at it was a 7:45 kickoff, so what we at 12 minutes, and Colchester scored. I think yeah, prior to this there was an own goal. I think one of the Grimsby players saw the Colchester keeper off his line and just lobbed him. The keeper did get a hand to it, but didn't quite tip it over the bar, and it was a bit of a lob for 1-0 Grimsby, and then very quickly Colchester came back. Now, the thing that I was going to talk about settings wise, now as you know, when I'm shooting in the daylight on my 70-200, I like to have an aperture of about f5.6, 6.1, something like that, just to give me a bit of depth, because as you can see here, he's sharp and he's just a little bit soft. Now, had I been at a bigger aperture, they both might have been sharp, and you'll see on the next goal, the goal in a bit, well, exactly what I mean. So yeah, a bit of a celebration, not too much, but then this hasn't quite gone in. That's him celebrating. This is him scoring. Look, so this is what I mean. I'm focused on the action that's here, and I think he just flicked it on with his head. Obviously the ball's here. Look, so I'm focused. My focus point is still somewhere on this guy here, I think. And the actual goal scorer, I think he just tapped it in with his knee, is this guy here, and he is soft. If you can see, let's just zoom in a bit. You can see, I did try and sharpen the frame a bit, and you can see, look, he's a bit grainy on his face, but I thought I'd send it anyway. He might get away with it. Now, had that been at, see, I'm at 2.8, had that been at 5.6 or 6.1, I think he would have been a bit sharper. And that's what I tend to do. I sacrifice losing depth on my 70-200 for goalmouth action and for players running towards me. I sacrifice that depth and that variation in player to backdrop, just so that for this exact instance, I might get more than one player sharp. I know I've said it in the past, and I know a lot of guys do shoot at 2.8, but I think I'm getting a bit slow in my old age. But yeah, so the focus point was there, and I think had I been at an f5.6 or 6.1, he might have been just a bit sharper. But anyway, didn't have no choice in the evening with it being 2.8, but hopefully you understand, that gets my theory across of shooting at a bigger aperture during the daylight hours. But and what we're at 12/50th. Both my 400 and my 70-200 I'd brought it down to 12/50th, and what we're at 6,400. I know the ISO, and I know that the 1DX can cope with the bigger ISO's okay. So yeah, so that was that goal. That was 1-1, and let's just go off this. And nice bit of selling. You got a bit of dejection there, a bit of a selly here, and then again there. Look, I've nearly lost the goal scorer, but I got a good bit of dejection, and that was that. So that was 1-1, I think. But Grimsby were playing really well. So has this gone past half time yet? Yeah, just about half time. That's the referee. Just thought I'd get a generic shot of the referee holding the ball. Now then, went for a pan blur, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. I didn't send it in the end because I didn't like it. There's no, although I've got the blur, I haven't got the element of speed, I don't think, because it looks like the image. Let me know what you think in the comments with this pan blur, but I didn't send it because I think there's not the speed from left to right or right to left. It looks like it's sort of splitting, if you know what I mean. So I didn't send it in the end, although the ball's rolling and you can see he's kicking it. I just thought that because his legs are going that way and his legs are going that way, I didn't think it worked. So, but I just thought I'd leave it in just to show you and explain why I didn't think this pan blur worked, because the whole of the scene is not moving in one direction. But yeah, so I didn't send that in the end. But let me know what you think. And then just a bit more action. What we at here? I'm at 3.5 there. Look, but I'm at ISO 16,000. I don't know why I've gone to 3.5. Perhaps I've knocked it by mistake, and I'm up to 2,000th there. Look, but grain wise, it's not too bad. Not too bad for a night game. Anyway, let's just get off of that. So a bit of action. Then Grimsby scored their second. I think they equalised. Yeah, they did equalise at 2-2, and I think I didn't put the image in here, but the frame before this, where he's kicking it, I think I was on. I think someone crossed it in, and I was still just coming off that player as he kicked it, as he struck the ball, and my focus point, although was on him, it muzzed a bit and it was a bit soft, so I didn't send it. But that's the next frame, and obviously he scored it there. He was watching the ball go in there, and then he ran off. And like I've said in the past, stay on the goal scorer, because you never know what you might get. And although he's running away from me, I quite like this. It's a little bit spacey, not very well composed, if you like, but it is what it is. And he's running off, and you know it's him pointing and him scoring, and yeah, just got the goal in the background, and it's not too soft. So thought that worked all right, and it was just a selly, because he didn't really celebrate. Obviously he scored there, and he ran away from me, and I was blocked for most of his celebrate. Well, he didn't really celebrate because he'd only brought it back to 2-2 then. But a bit more action here. What am I back down to 2.8 there, look, and I'm still at 1600th, and it's still looking okay. Ball's a bit blurred, look, at 1600th, but the reaction's not so good in the dark match, as you know. And always try and get a bit of fan reaction, and I think Grimsby were just slackening off a bit, and I think Colchester was, well, they ended up winning 3-2 in the end, but Colchester were adding a lot of pressure, and just turned around, and this fan was giving the players a bit of jip, so I just thought I'd get his reaction. And quite a nice one of the Sky Bet League 2 patch, the arm patch and the together patch. One of the many brief images that I've got to do, so I just thought I'd grab one of them and send that off. And then full time. And as you can see, Colchester is celebrating the 3-2 win. Bit of dejection here from the goal scorer, the Grimsby goal scorer, but not quite enough on the night, and they're celebrating. And yeah, then the handshake with the players. And now, I didn't realise, but the Colchester lad is only 19, and he had a really good game. He made some vital saves actually, and probably helped them win. And I see him run down, because I think there was only 162 Colchester fans had made the journey up to Grimsby, so good bit of support. And it was nice because they did thank the Colchester fans on the tannoy just as the full time was coming when they announced the attendance. I think it was about 6,000 the attendance, and all the Grimsby fans applauded them, so that was really nice. Good old school fans. And anyway, yeah, I noticed that a lot of the players were going down to the Colchester fans to say thanks for travelling, and I kept my eye on the keeper, because obviously, as you can see here, he went and started high-fiving the fans, and which made some really grainy images. Look, I'm down to 640th there, look, because I've got no available light really. I'm shooting into the stand, so down to 640th at 3.5 just to keep a little bit of depth. And I'm at 25/600 there, look, on the ISO, so you can see the grain. It's awful really, but yeah, I stayed on, and the rest of the players went back into the dugout, and he stayed chatting to the fans for, I don't know, 5 minutes, which was really nice. And then he did the old cheer and the yes, and got a couple of nice frames of that just to finish off the set. Bit of a shame about the old matey here, but I'm not going to use AI to get rid of him. It is what it is. I know I've seen some photographers causing a bit of stink lately on Twitter. I think it was an American football game, I don't know if you've seen it, and the American footballer's walking back towards the snapper, and he's got players both sides of him with a bit of smoke, and I think he AI'd it and just made it smoke in the background, and I think it caused a bit of reaction anyway, but no doubt you've seen it on Twitter. But yeah, I never ever mess about with any of my images. What you get is what gets sent. What the papers do after is up to them. But anyway, yeah, so that's finished the set off. Followed the keeper, and yeah, it turns out he was only 19 and he had a really good game. I think he's on loan from, I'm not sure where he was on loan from, to one of the Premier League. No, not Chelsea. I can't think who it is, but he's on loan anyway. But yeah, he had a cracking game, so I thought I'd follow him, and he gave us a nice cheer just to finish the set off. But yeah, it was really good to shoot under the lights again, and hopefully I'll get a few more games midweek, and I'll try and keep up with the videos and give you a midweek video if I do a midweek game the previous week. But yeah, where was I at the weekend? I was at Hull versus Preston, and that was a really good game. I chose the right end for once and got the only goal and the only celly. That video will be up probably Friday night. So yeah, that was a good game, and nice to be down the road again. This coming weekend, where am I this weekend? Not Hull, Huddersfield versus Watford this weekend, so that should be a good game. But anyway, leave all your comments below and let me know if you use the same sort of settings under the lights. But yeah, dialed down everything to 2.8 because you've got no choice. But I know the 1DX can handle the high ISO, so yeah, got away with it just, I think. But for a League 2 ground anyway, I think they are LED lights actually, so there was certainly no colour variation in, if you do a shutter burst. I know on the old bulb systems, the old bulb floodlights, you used to get a yellow frame, then a green frame, then a yellow frame. Didn't notice that at Grimsby, and I'm sure they're on LEDs now, but I think a lot of grounds are going to LEDs. But yeah, it was good to be under the lights again, and at a local ground as well. But anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Look forward to your comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and catch up at the weekend. Take care. Catch up soon.